Good afternoon, podcast world. Travis Anderson, coming from my bunker in sunny Central Oregon. Checking in. First of all, my books. Where are we, and what should we do about it? A brief history of how we got here. A detailed map for every individual going forward. Life forward. The future is not waiting for heroes. The future is waiting for participants. A practical guide to human potential. A good life is better than a shitty life. We grew up. Religion, politics, and the human tools we have outgrown. We didn't outgrow religion. We didn't outgrow politics. We grew into something more. Amazon. I want to talk about perspective. I want to talk about the problem we're struggling with. We came from a place of not knowing what the answers were. For most of history, we were doing our best. I want to start with a very simple idea. For most of human history, we were probably doing about as well as we could. Not perfectly, not peacefully, not intelligently by today's standards. But given what people knew, the tools they had, and the circumstances they were born into, most people were simply trying to make it to tomorrow. Think about the human experience for most of our existence. Find food, find water, stay warm, protect your children, avoid predators, survive childbirth, get through winter, protect the village. Usual creature survival stuff. Grow enough food before the weather changes. For enormous stretches of human history, simply staying alive was a full-time occupation. There wasn't a giant reservoir of unused human capacity waiting around to solve the world's problems. Survival consumed it. We should understand our history from that perspective. That's a better place to look at things. We're caught up in today's current conflict, and we're angry and we're pissed and fighting with each other. And I think that to pull back and get a 100,000-mile view of what has happened and how we have been coping with the world around us as we grew into the current situation is a better way of understanding and a better perspective on dealing with the moments in front of us. We should understand our history from that perspective. People weren't stupid. They weren't evil. Nobody was driving the bus. It was just people forward. Human beings navigating the world with the consciousness, knowledge, fears, beliefs, and tools available to them at the time. And somehow, generation after generation, we kept going. Then something extraordinary happened. Slowly, we got better at surviving. Agriculture, sanitation, medicine, engineering, electricity, transportation, education, communication, science, computers, automation. We accumulated knowledge. Every generation didn't have to start over. That's important. A person born today inherits thousands of years of human discovery. Think about how extraordinary that is. You don't have to discover electricity. You don't have to figure out germ theory. You don't have to invent mathematics. You don't have to invent the wheel. You don't have to figure out how to preserve food. You don't have to personally discover which plants will kill you. Millions of human lives contributed tiny pieces of knowledge, and all of that accumulated knowledge was handed forward. We inherited it. We inherited all of that investment. And that inheritance changed the human job. For many of us, survival no longer consumed the entire day. This is a monumental transition because suddenly something became available humans almost never had before. Capacity. Capacity. We have capacity now. Look around at what humans can do. We can build a machine that flies hundreds of people across an ocean. We can replace a human heart. We can communicate instantly across the planet. We can look billions of years into space. We can sequence the human genome. Any one of those ideas should blow your mind. That's accumulated human knowledge that we have access to, that we've been gifted for our navigation forward. We can put nearly the entire accumulated knowledge of our species into something you carry in your pocket. And now we're building artificial intelligence capable of helping us sort and work with that knowledge. Look at what this creature has become capable of. Then ask a completely different question. What are we doing with all of that fucking capacity? What are we doing with it? Millions of years, accumulated capacity is sitting here available for our use. So let's see what we're doing with it. It's the gap I want to talk about. The great waste. We have liberated enormous amounts of human capacity from survival, and then we waste a shocking amount of it. We argue, we divide ourselves into tribes, we manufacture enemies, we obsess over celebrities, we spend hours scrolling through things we won't remember tomorrow. We fight about politics as though defeating another group of humans is the purpose of being alive. We argue about religions human created thousands of years ago. We create culture wars, we gossip, we accumulate things we don't need, we chase status, we become angry at strangers, we watch other people become angry at strangers. Then we argue about the people who are angry at the strangers. Entire industries compete for our attention by discovering which emotional trigger will keep us looking at a screen for another 30 seconds. And all of that requires human capacity. That's what we're doing with our capacity. Attention is capacity, time is capacity, thought is capacity, creativity is capacity, curiosity is capacity, energy is capacity, a human lifetime is capacity. And once you spend it, it's gone. Imagine the ledger. Imagine that humanity had a capacity ledger. 8 billion human beings, 24 hours every day. Billions of conscious minds capable of learning, imagining, building, discovering, loving, teaching, cooperating, solving problems. Now imagine watching where all that capacity goes. You silly humans. Some of it goes towards raising children, some of it goes towards science, some of it goes towards medicine, building homes, creating businesses, teaching, art, friendship, caring for people. That's human capacity doing useful work. But then there would be another enormous column, wasted capacity. Let's talk about wasted capacity. War, hatred, political tribalism, religious tribalism, status competition, manipulation, misinformation, addiction, attention capture, resentment, endless manufactured conflict. Think about the intellectual horsepower consumed every single day arguing about things that produce absolutely nothing forward. That's the tragedy. Not because humans are bad, because we can do better. It's really hard to not service our history. It's really hard to wake up today without the burden of responsibility to answer yesterday's forward momentum, isn't it? Historical excuse is disappearing. This is where our moment is different. Thousands of years ago, humans didn't know. They couldn't know. Lightning struck the mountain and you had no understanding of electricity. You made up an explanation. Disease swept through your village and you didn't understand bacteria or viruses. You made up an explanation. If another tribe threatened your food supply, fighting might actually have been necessary for survival. If there wasn't enough food for everyone, competition was unavoidable. Those circumstances shaped us, and many of the behaviors that come from those circumstances made sense at the time, but circumstances change. The question becomes, did we change with them? Because we are carrying ancient behaviors into a completely different human environment. We've inherited tribal instincts, fear responses, dominance behavior, superstitions, political divisions, religious divisions, status competition, an entire system built around scarcity and conflict. Some of those things once helped humans navigate their circumstances. It doesn't mean that they belong forever. Of course, that's where we came from. That's exactly where we would have to have come from. There was no skipping that portion of it. When the lights came on and consciousness landed in our head and in our hands, we struggled to understand what to do with it. And we were the first creatures. We were the maiden voyage of that test. And we had to go through what we went through. We have to be here right now. There was no avoiding this situation right now. So what's curious is this right now situation is the golden opportunity that billions of years has been grinding out. Think of all of the struggles of every creature that has ever lived and survived to produce this moment and this opportunity for you and I to see it for what it is and to take control of the opportunity that we have instead of wasting human capacity. That's the question. That's where we've landed. This is a special, incredible moment. I can't even believe I get to be here right now to look and see all of the effort that got here. No, it wasn't the plan. It was just what happened, life doing what life does. We grew up. There comes a point in an individual's life when saying, that's how I was raised, stops being enough. Maybe it explains something, but eventually you become responsible for what happens next. Humanity is reaching something similar. We can understand our history without being trapped in it. We can say, of course humans became tribal. Of course humans invented religions. Of course humans fought over territory. Of course humans created kings and competed for resources, made mistakes, circumstances. Here we are now. We know more now. We have better tools now. We have more capacity now. And that changes the question. The question isn't why did humans do all of those things? We can understand much of that. The question is, why are we still doing them? Why are we still doing them? Because we can stand and understand and see and lay it all out. The opportunity. Imagine redirecting even a fraction of the capacity we currently waste. Not all of it. 10%. Imagine millions of people asking, what can I build, improve, learn, help, solve, develop? What can we accomplish together? What does tomorrow need from me? Now multiply that across humanity. That's the opportunity sitting in front of us. We don't need perfect humans. We don't need everyone to believe the same things. We don't need one political party. We don't need one religion, one culture, one way of living. We need human beings participating with their capacity. Our uniqueness becomes useful. Your particular mind matters. Your mind matters. My mind matters. Your particular experience matters. Your curiosity, your ability. 8 billion different human beings don't have to become the same. They can contribute differently to the same direction. Forward. Capacity. Forward. Life forward. What does it feel like to be alive in that world? Now bring it back to the individual, because this isn't only about civilization. Ask the simplest question. How does it feel to be me right now? How does it feel to spend your day angry? How does it feel to constantly look for someone to blame? How does it feel to be consumed by politics? To hate people you've never met, to spend 4 hours scrolling through shit? Compare that with something else. How does it feel to learn, to improve, to build something, to help somebody, to become excellent at something, to participate in a community, to raise a thriving child, to solve a problem, to discover something you didn't know yesterday, to participate intentionally in your own life, to participate intentionally in your own life. Those aren't abstract philosophical questions. Those are different human experiences. We can test them. Better use of the creature. That may ultimately be what this is about. A better use of the human creature. We spend hundreds of thousands of years developing this extraordinary capacity. Consciousness, language, imagination, memory. cooperation, reason, empathy. Now we have access to more accumulated knowledge than any humans have ever lived. What are we going to do with it? Fight about which politician said something stupid yesterday? Really? We are. That's what we're going to do. Spend another decade arguing about whose ancient story is correct? We are. That's exactly what we do. Find another group to hate? Create another enemy? Or finally recognize what is sitting here? Billions of human beings carrying extraordinary unrealized potential. Or that. Or just fight, make shit up. We can do better. That's why I call this episode We Can Do Better. Not because our attention failed. They got us here. They survived, learned, experimented, built, passed knowledge forward generation after generation. Now it's ours. We inherited something they never had. Nothing in the history of ever has been this. That we know we have this tool of knowledge and we know how to use it. So, change channels, stop fighting, stop looking for a reason to disengage. Find your capacity and gift it to the future of yourself and the people around you and the world that we live in. That changes everything now. Right now, we can do that now. Extraordinary gift. Join me in Light Forward. Let's go. Thanks for listening.